Coach, it looks like the offense is having a little bit of trouble getting on track today. Would you put that more on the defense or just kind of mid-camp adjustments?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, we all know what everybody's doing now, and so it's working on technique and getting after the quarterback for us in our room and as a defensive front, and then staying attached to guys in the secondary. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think we're out there competing. There's a lot of positions that are still up for grabs. So you see a lot of guys, out there straining, which is great. And I'd probably attribute it to that.
Some injuries out there this week that you don't want to see. How do you balance keeping guys healthy and keeping it competitive so you're game ready?
Yeah, I think it's playing football. Like, you got to play football at a professional level where you stay up no matter what. And that's where we're at. So it's teaching them, helping them develop and understand how to play football, full speed, full contact, and stay on your feet.
How did you hear about the lockdown yesterday, and what was your reaction to it?
Yeah, Coach brought us up, and for me personally, I was at the University of Virginia when everything went down there, so we were out at practice. The AD came up, Coach Bronco Mendenhall brought us all up, and that was by far, it was probably 10, 100, however many times you want to put it against, what happened yesterday. Sadly, someone lost their life that day. But we heard about it, lockdown, and then we came out and practiced. So thankfully, nothing more happened. But yeah, for me personally, it just was kind of thinking along those lines of how big, the incident was or, had happened. But thankfully, it wasn't like what happened.
And how did the coaches get together and say, we'll try it again at 3, or how did that go?
Yeah, we just followed the lead of Coach Wilcox. So he sent out a text and got everybody together, and then he came up with a game plan and got out here and practiced.
You got a couple of new edge guys in Tunkara and Fall coming in this fall. What have you seen out of them so far?
Sheck is very physical. He's just naturally physical. When you see him, he's physically imposing. There's a lot of things that he's got to work on. And then Serene is more, it reminds me a lot of someone I coached previous school. In Drake Jackson, he has a bendability that you can't coach, right? So we're excited about that as well. So they fit right into what we do here, and we're excited to see what they can do this fall.
Another young guy, McCullough, continues to flash. A couple more.
More
TFLs.
He's probably a guy that really, truthfully, could play any position, up front. He could play a 4-eye, play on the 5, and then he's athletic enough, to play behind the ball at inside linebacker. Against Oregon State, they tried to test them and, kicked that onside kick. He picked it up and waited for the bounce like a baseball player and grabbed it out of the air and ran, So he's got ball skills, that you can't coach, and he's got a knack for finding the ball and understanding leverage and playing with power.
What exactly is bendability?
Bendability?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I asked you to pick up that piece of trash, you could do it really quick. That's basically what it is. You know what I mean?
How does Big Miles Williams fit into the picture for you guys?
Yeah, he's dependable. He's a guy that's been here a long time, that's been in our defense for a long time. Before I was here, he was in the defense, and so he's like a security blanket for the new guys and for us as a defense. Like, he can plug and play at any situation at either position, F or B.
Feels like a common theme has been trying to be disruptive in the backfield. How would you guys rate your ability so far in camp to disrupt the backfield?
Yeah, I'd probably give that to Coach Blash, let him tell you how we're doing. But I think we're all taking strides, and that's the biggest thing. We have a Xavier Carlton who has physical tools that you can't teach. He's 6'7", long and nasty. You have Reese, who kind of played his first full season last year and was able to get to the quarterback end of the season against UCLA with 3 sacks and forced fumbles. Then you have Ryan, who played a bigger role than I think a lot of us thought he would play as a true freshman. Did some really good things against some, big-time games, in some big-time games. And then Miles Williams, who's been here, and I played immediately as a true sophomore because of, how he picks up stuff and he understands the defense. And then we have our 2 new guys that are coming in, and the rest of the guys are coming along. So I think we're all taking strides, and I'm really excited to get them out there and, have some live quarterbacks back there.
When you go back and assess, whether it's a film or just assess the practice, what are some of the things that you're looking for? What's your list look like of what you're kind of prioritizing?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's do they know what they're doing? Are they aligned, right? An assignment, and then the technique, and then the violence of what they do with. Because there's 100 ways to keep contained or set an edge, okay? But we want to stop the train. We want to stand in front of the train, stop the train, and knock it back. And so all those things come into account. Like, those guys know that there's a certain way to play football. There's a way in our room where we want to play physical and violent, and they understand it and they can see it. And that's, what I think about of how I want them to play and what they're graded on. So their alignment, assignment, technique, and then how violent they play.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.